Do you want to show the audience your stabbed finger real quick, and then we'll just like get into it?
Wait, are we rolling? We good?
Yeah,
rolling?
we've been rolling.
Yeah,
tough
people,
morning.
As surprising as this podcast is not making like millions of dollars. So all of us
Barely making any dollars, but yeah, I'm glad you said millions.
Yeah, it's not making
money
coins. It's not making coins.
Yeah,
so we're all leading very haphazard lives. We're juggling a lot of things. We're also juggling actual things. And in a haste to get to this podcast, I was grabbing my backpack and learned the hard lesson of sticking pencils down
and not
in
up.
the pencil and not up. And the terror of this is that I'm a mother of young kids. Like maybe I shouldn't be allowed to have kids. But it's too late. It's a little too late.
Mm-hmm.
But I am worried that I am not equipped.
I'm a little concerned too because they're toddlers, and I assume looking in their backpack, you're just pencils up, just shoving them in there back to school days, and they might come home
and
without a
is pencils
hand.
up a gateway drug to carrying scissors the wrong way?
Yeah.
Is that what we're dealing with here?
Here's the thing. When you carry scissors the wrong way, that whole fucking thing, I'm like, well, who actually, I get it, where you hold the handle, you're supposed to hold it by the blades.
Hold it down at least, yeah. Hold it down.
Like who, what big accident where someone's like, I
What big
handed
accident?
scissors.
What are you talking about?
What big accident? It turns into a knife.
My friend's brother lost his eye.
How?
Oh my God. And literally, that is a pretty almost worst case scenario. Short of death, like that's pretty bad.
Lost his eye from someone handing him scissors?
He got scissors in his eye because they were running, moving, giving something wrong way with the scissors.
There's
sliced
literally
it.
a book title called Running with Scissors.
It's kind of a thing.
My God. Okay, I've changed my mind. I normally hand it the right way. You hold the blades, but when you hold the blades, it feels fucking weird. And then I'm like, well, it's not like I'm going to hold them and open and be like, here you go, open scissors, snap,
Well,
snap.
I think, okay, I think that there's some misunderstanding here because I think it's holding the blades is like probably like the best optimal.
Yeah.
But I think it's also just holding them down, like walking with them where they're facing the ground, like gun down, as opposed to just out and about. And then it is truly like a large shiv. Moving on. Welcome to the Rage Pod. I'm Ebar. This is my co-host, Tara Erickson.
What up?
And this is a podcast where we talk about all things rage, often through a female lens. And
because you're both females.
Yeah. So today we're talking about toddler rage.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3.5-year-old twins. And something that really interested me in talking about this is it actually ties, I think, to our pilot episode, our early episodes, and talking about rage and then really kind of highlighting rage in women and how looked down upon it is, how not talked about it is, only that like it's considered unattractive. But it's like if you look at toddlers, they all have rage. It's not like, oh, little boys have rage and little girls don't have rage. And then suddenly little girls grow up and they're women. And it's like, how unbecoming that you have rage. You're a woman.
Right.
So that kind of was, I found that to be interesting to kind of explore. We're going to talk to Dr. Nicole, our favorite neuroscientist.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk to J. Cox, one of our favorite psychotherapists who studies anger a lot and has her podcast, Women Are Mad. She has a book called Women Are Angry. Wendy had a toddler who's now
had a real one.
Wonderful young adult. And Tara has done a lot of, has nannied a lot in the past and obviously has friends with small children.
Everything changes.
Yeah.
When you have kids, it just does.
Yeah. But don't you think that everything changes regardless? Like, don't you think like in life?
Oh, yeah. When you get older, I mean, everything I think is supposed to, which is why when you get older, like your mood changes, things get easier, you care less. And I think it's like the same of like why when you get a little bit older and you start having kids, it's like you're a better parent because you're like less concerned about maybe what you would be 10 years ago. If
Right,
you were
right,
like
right,
popping
right.
out kids in your 20s, you're still kind of a
Yeah.
kid.
Okay, so I'm very curious what a toddler's brain looks like, both just sort of in general and then when they're having a tantrum. We are not qualified to talk about that, which is a real shock. But Dr. Nicole is someone that we are very excited to talk to about that. Rage on the toddler brain. I am here with Dr. Nicole Tetrault. I'm going to use the most aggressive French accent in saying your name. You are an internationally known compassionate-based neuroscientist. You're a speaker, a meditation expert coach, right? And an author, which I actually have your book right here, Insight into a Bright Mind. And this episode that we're talking about is on toddlers, like rage and toddlers. However, we rage, tantrums, anger. And one of the reasons why I found it really interesting, even from a female perspective, the kind of pervasive messaging that we get is, women really shouldn't be raging. We really shouldn't be having outbursts. We really shouldn't be having these anger issues. And as a mom of two, 3.5-year-old girls, I can tell you that they inherently have, if we want to call it rage, they have rage, they have outbursts, they have uncontrollable frustration. I don't think that they're weird outliers.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that we can look at again in the sort of genderizing that we do with rage. And if you look at these really younger points in our development, at what point does this change where we say, oh, okay, well, women need to grow out of it, or do we try to control it at that young age? We see that happening then. So that's kind of sort of the correlation to looking at rage in particularly for women, but in adults at large.
I wanted to address, because you said a lot of really important things.
Oh.
So I want to step back just a second, because
Yes.
there were inherent questionings within yourself.
For
and
sure.
there were two kind of underlying themes that were coming out. And the first one is the expectations within gender roles that you're talking about for rage. And first and foremost, terrible twos are terrible twos for a very specific reason. It's not like it's some anomaly. It's not like your girls are these outliers. It's very normal. The brain is barely turning online. It's a primary emotional center, right? So for development for children, what happens is when they bond with their mother, there's that experience of them experiencing part of their ego themselves as their mother for the first few months. And then over time, that differentiation begins to occur, right, in normal development. So at first, they experience themselves as one with the mother and the mother's nervous system. And it's sort of like what I like to think of it as the satellite nervous system. Then that oneness becomes two, and they become independent. So a big part of tantrums at that age is identifying the self and identifying their differentiation, their own cognitive capabilities. And also, what's happening at the same time is the brain isn't fully developed for emotional regulation. So the brain is asynchronous. And even at that point, our emotional centers are still much more the driving force than our prefrontal cortex.
Right. Yes.
And so we have our primary limbic center that's just kind of responding. And so that's a very normal thing to be happening at that age. And then over time, this frontal cortex doesn't develop until our mid-30s. So what's really important is that for a child who's raging, is that they have to be able to rage within safety, right?
Yeah.
So a big piece of it is instead of telling them to shut down that emotion, because ultimately accepting the true self, we have these false self and true self. Young girls really are told by society and the way the patriarchal system has been designed is that women and children are submissive. So on two realms, a little girl is told to be submissive. They're not told to rage because they're a child and they're a female. So the real reality is that what happens is if that child isn't allowed full completion to rage, to experience that intensity of emotion and go through it with a compassionate mirror to say, explain to me what's going on, rather than stop it, you're in trouble, and getting that punishment, that negative reward, they're never going to really learn that they could be fully, truly who they are within safety. Now, if a child is self-injurious, through a tantrum and things like that, of course, you have to do harm reduction. So I'm not saying, let them, I'm not saying straitjacket them, but I'm not saying, let them jump off the cliff either.
What do you think you would like people to know more about in terms of toddlers having these moments of being in fact, what's better language to use? I would say like feeling, they seem to be in a position where they're out of control, but maybe there's better language than what I'm using.
I would say, for anybody who's dealing with that in the moment, there are two main things that needs to come in mind for the parent. Is first, patience.
Yeah.
Because I think with the way that our world is, letting our child know that we could sit with that difficulty with them and accept them is probably the first thing. Because so much of the time people say, I never got to express my emotions as a kid. People always shut me down, boy or girl. Whatever gender you want to identify with. And there was always that, no one just really just kind of sat with me.
What do you think, we've been talking about toddler girls, but what do you also see are things that we could do to improve how we respond to young boys and some of these situations?
Well, I mean, I think boys kind of have a different cultural thing that gets put on them. Suck it up, buck up, don't be a baby. Don't be a baby.
Yeah.
And I think that really comes back to rewiring the way that we communicate about gendered roles within our culture, and to really eliminate that kind of talk and allow boys to experience their emotions. Because boys, girls are taught to be submissive, boys are told to not have any feelings. And so they're both kind of culturally pushed into where you push out of who you truly are, what you're truly experiencing, because you're told from a very young age, no one could deal with it. And no one wants to.
Yeah.
No one says you're worth it.
And so obviously there's a lot of opinions here on how we deal with, how we support toddlers going through their rageful moments. Lot of opinions. That's the thing. Wendy, you were saying that we don't talk about this enough. And I think people do talk about it, but I think there's often a lot of judgment. A lot of you should do this, you should do that. And we are looking for tools, but curious to hear what our friend Jay Cox has to say about how we support our toddlers and
how to handle it when they're freaking out.
How to handle it. I am here with the Dr. Jennifer Cox, author of the Times self-help book of the year, correct?
Correct.
Women Are Angry, co-host of the podcast Women Are Mad. She's a psychotherapist where with her clients, she focuses on the female experience. And she's super cool, super smart. And she always uses a British accent because she's British. And we love that.
So I'm really interested in looking at like what happens sort of over the course of time that we suddenly say, oh, at some point it's okay for that gender to keep having tantrums and whatever that looks like at that age, but it's not okay for this gender to have tantrums.
Oh, this is so good. Yeah. We have to think first about the largeness of all feelings at these ages and how maybe it's not even appropriate, if that doesn't sound like too formal, to call these rages anger, because I'm not sure at this stage it is. I'm not sure it's anything identifiable. It's like, imagine if you can't tell the difference between hunger and tiredness, and imagine if you have no language for that and your impulse control is non-existent, and this favorite toy is somehow and for no apparent reason being taken away from you, you know, if you put yourself in that footing, suddenly I don't know that we'd call it anger. Suddenly it's nervous system overwhelm. It's, I do not know what is happening to me. I do not know what I'm feeling, you know? But I think you're right that the genderized language and expectations start kicking in the parent zones and in the kind of, you know, kindergarten teacher zones from now and probably even before. So we've got that kind of adult language on top, and this, therefore, this kind of what is basically just a kind of nervous system meltdown is suddenly being called rage or anger or even, you know, frustration or a tantrum. And actually we're not even sure if it's any of those things, but but I think it is still more acceptable that a little boy is expressing this than a little girl. And I think what we start to see from these moments is how the little girl can't be tolerated in these extreme feeling states, whereas a boy, it's almost like if you watch the adults around him, you can kind of see that like near awe begin to develop. So it's like, wow, that he knows his own mind. He's going to be a leader. He's going to
do what he wants.
He's going to do what he wants, and we're just going to watch. And
no one's going to stop him. He's just going to do what he wants, and no one's going to stop him.
Fast forward to
Fast forward to hiring. Fast forward to electing a narcissistic egomaniac reality star to the highest office in our country that literally does whatever he wants, including assaulting women. So yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. I see it all the time. And some of it is so subconscious. Just, you know, parents, the default reaction, oh, well, you know, he's a little boy.
Yeah, boys will be boys.
Oh, probably, right? Oh, yeah, well, you have a boy, right? Or oh, it's probably easier because you have a girl. And I want to be like,
yes,
girl, my daughter like flipped a table the other day. Like, wow. We heard her like in her room throw something.
Wow.
So where does that put her? Just like, oh, she's a mess, or she's not being a girl, right? Or she's really, really frustrated and can't regulate her emotions.
We're labeling this terrible. Like, you could easily have labeled her table flip naughty or shocking behavior or inappropriate, but you understand she is a little animal, basically, who has no idea that this is not what we do as adults. And I mean, it really kind of got me thinking, actually, when you said about, you know, having this conversation today, whether our feelings get less or whether we just get better, frankly, at kind of repressing them if we're
repressing
women.
them. Yeah.
You know?
No, I've thought that very same thing. I'm like, you have women in your practice that come to you with anger that they're trying to figure out. Like, do they, you know, that obviously exists.
Yeah.
So they might have been repressing it from the external world. right?
Mm.
But
Mm.
every minute that goes by, there's a woman in her car like screaming at the top of her lungs.
Yeah,
right?
there is. That is
But
true.
we don't want to see it, right? We don't want to know about it.
No, we don't want to know about it. And I think a lot of our own instincts is to not know about it within ourselves. So we may allow ourselves like the odd car scream, but we're not going to let that scream escape in public or tell anyone else about it. And, you know, I feel like there's a lot of talk now about, let's say, highly sensitive people. And I'm not sure about that, because I feel as if we're actually all highly sensitive and we're
Right.
all highly emotional. But some of us have learned how to better kind of articulate and express those feelings.
Mhm.
Some of us sadly have learned to really squash them down. And some of
Yeah.
us wage wars and, you know, decide that mass genocides are a great idea. So, you know, there's a spectrum there. But I do think that the feelings themselves are no less strong than when we are toddlers
Yeah.
and potentially teenagers.
I think that resonates with me a lot, because I do like, I know when I have anger, how visceral and animalistic it can feel.
Oh,
And I'm
it's
like,
huge.
that can't just be me. And that's not just like, oh, I'm a problem. Right. I think that's
No.
just like, we're animals.
We're
you
animals.
know?
And look
Like,
at the world we're trying to like crowbar ourselves
oh
into.
my
It's
God.
not animal shaped. It's not
And
even
meanwhile-
Stone Age brain shaped.
No. And meanwhile, I didn't even know that mass genocide was an option for me, right? Like,
It wouldn't occur to you.
wouldn't occur to me. It just makes me want to move to the woods and whittle. And
That's
don't
what
whittle.
I keep saying. That's what I keep saying. And we don't even whittle, and that's what we want to do.
No.
I mean,
It
dream
sounds
is
great.
it does sound great. A cabin. Like I keep thinking. So in the UK, we say, I want to move to the Outer Hebrides. And I don't even know where that is and what that means, but I want that.
What do you think are ways that we can embrace and assist toddlers going through these moments of feeling out of control, that their reactions we now label as tantrums, or we label as, you know, rage? And particularly with little girls, what do you think are ways that we can respond to that doesn't feel like over genderizing or suppressing them?
So I think when you say, how can we embrace, that is, I think, the key, actually. Like, what I always recommend is body to body co-regulation. So forget the words for now, forget what we're calling this. Let's just get the bodies back in sync. So no matter how stressed out you're feeling, it's never going to do you any harm to hold that little screaming bundle as kind of tightly and as closely as you can, and just wait and just let them kick out and rail and do all the things that they need to do, but do it within your arms and like a kind of straitjacket, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's that containment and it's the sort of womb. And it's also what starts to happen is you metabolize for them some of their feeling.
I think we also, all of the expectations and responsibilities, some of which I don't think we need to have, keep us from reconditioning the instrument to be in that and to be okay with like, okay, this might take a little bit longer, or like actually processing through the emotions. Like, we feel like we need to fix it immediately so we can move on to this, we can move on to this. It's like we're multitasking on multitasking. And so of course, like, how are they going to learn?
They're not going to learn. And this is why screens, they're so tempting, aren't they? To just shove them a screen, because that's what we do. If we're feeling dysregulated, we get on Instagram or TikTok and we scroll until we're calm. And we're teaching them to do the same thing. And I think we are losing the art of just feeling, which is why when we get a feeling that's a bit surprising, we say we're hypersensitive or our feelings are bigger than other people's.
Mhm.
They're
That's
not.
so
They're
true.
meant
Yeah.
to be this big. We've just forgotten what to do with them.
Yep. I mean, how many times I was like, yeah, she's really sensitive.
What exactly? But that's, you see, it's like you're trying to excuse something that is perfectly normal and natural. Like,
Mhm.
I think we get embarrassed by little girls flipping out more than we get embarrassed by little boys, because again, this conditioning in us is, God, what are they doing? Is there
Oh
something
my
wrong
God,
with
that's
them?
they're not being a little girl, you
They're not
know.
being,
It's
are
like,
they being manipulative? Is this a great
yeah, oh my
dysfunction?
God. Right? Like, meanwhile, there's like a little boy with like a machine gun, like across the
He's
way.
fine. He's totally
He's fine.
fine.
He's, you know,
Yeah.
he's a boy. It's just
Looks
like
good
what
on
boys
him.
do.
Everything is much more
Yeah.
complicated. And I wonder if even bringing toddlers into this world feels more complicated, because you're already having to battle stuff like screen time
Screens,
when
yeah.
they're this tiny. It's just, you know, it's expecting so much of parents, I think. Like,
It
we've
is.
set up a world that is so much harder to parent in.
Oh my gosh, Jennifer, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I could keep talking to you forever.
Likewise.
Again, where can people find you, by the way?
So it's
Oh my God,
at
it is.
Jennifer Cox, psychotherapist.
Yeah, I seen like at Disneyland, I think it's like the funniest thing when I see a toddler just freaking out on the ground, screaming and crying. Because like you're at Disneyland, but like they can't help it. They're just gonna, it doesn't matter where you're at. But I feel like now it's like the thing where you'll just see the mom sitting on the stair and the kid is just dying. And they're just like, gotta wait it out. This is embarrassing for her, but gotta just wait it out. And
Oh.
I'm like, oh my God.
Shame goes out the window when
Totally.
you become a parent of a you just don't, like, I just am like hoping that no one gets harmed. Like, I'm just trying to make sure, like, oh, that's not going to be a lawsuit. I definitely, that person's nice. I don't want them to get hurt, like, in the
Totally.
crossfire. But, like, I don't care what I look like. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I just don't care. I have to, like, make sure that this small human doesn't, like, get hit by a car or, like, stab themselves in the eye with their finger. I mean, stab themselves in their eye with a pair of scissors
Yep.
because they're not carrying it the right way. But yeah, it's tiring. It's
Well,
very tiring.
That's why I think it's like, it's almost like crazy because you're like, oh, I'm tired, over it, don't really care. And I'm like, a lot of times, me too. And I don't have toddlers. That's also why I give moms a lot of, well, parents just in general, a lot of credit, because you feel that way. And sometimes it's just hard to get out of bed and do a thing, but you also have kids. That's insane.
This is a
Yeah.
good lead in into our rage hotline if you want to toss it
Ooh.
to
Let's
that.
do it.
You've reached the Rage Hotline. Please leave us a message.
We have a letter. We have an email that we got, and it
Great.
says, I let my toddler fully melt down on the grocery store floor instead of dragging him out kicking and screaming. He was losing it over something tiny, and I could feel all the judgment from people around us. But honestly, I knew if I just stayed calm and let him get it out, he'd be done in 2 minutes and we could move on. So I stood there, held the boundary, ignored the stares, and waited it out. Part of me feels like I handled it well. Another part of me wonders if everyone around me thought I was completely failing as a parent.
They did think that. But you know what? Fuck them.
Fuck them. And I
Fuck
also
them.
think anybody who, and this goes for planes, like anyone who is a parent and you hear the crying kids on the plane, or you see the mom dealing with the kid having the tantrum, as a parent, we've all been there and we have empathy.
And just get better headphones.
And just bless, like,
Yeah, get better headphones. Like, also, you're going on a plane. Going on a plane now, you are fucking going into battle. So you be prepared.
Totally.
Okay? You be prepared to not get to your destination for 3 days. You better be prepared for like a shit ton of turbulence and somebody like me who's a nightmare when that happens, and like 7 babies in rows all around you. So when you go into battle, you've got tools, right? You don't just go in naked and hope for the best.
Right. I would not be above being like, here, take this Benadryl. Knock out, kid. Not having it.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
that's me. This is why.
we've done Benadryl, but like you want to do that sparingly.
I know.
You want to do it sparingly.
Which
Like,
is why I guess I wouldn't travel much, so that the times that I could
Yeah.
travel,
You
Benadryl
could.
them up, shut
Yeah,
the
sure.
F up. It's like I don't even have a kid
No.
for 8 hours.
Until they
wake up.
piss themselves because they're in a Benadryl stupor,
Oh,
and then you have
no.
to deal with that.
Oh no, Ebar, but maybe I'll plan it. Maybe we plan it because you just told me
So
that.
you just put like
We
a
do
bunch
double,
of towels.
We do
Yeah.
double diaper.
Oh my
right?
God,
The
this is
pull-up.
like a revisit to the Thanksgiving.
And then you have the
nightmare.
you have the dog mat, the pee
Yeah.
pads. We put the pee pad down on the chair, but they also got double diaper. We're fine. They're fine.
Yeah. There's so many things that I could poke holes in this pitch for, but like I'm
Yeah.
not going to.
That's all right. I mean, you could, and maybe I'd come back with how to plug it up.
Yeah.
Like you could come at my plan.
Number one, get the screaming toddler into a double diaper who has no interest in being in a double diaper. Number two,
Okay.
she doesn't want to sit on a pee pad. She's like, fuck this pee pad. I don't want this pee pad. And the pee pad is in the center aisle.
Got
you
it.
know?
Bingo.
Okay.
We're giving them the Benadryl, a little quarter of it before. So they're getting tired, too tired to fight me over double diapers. We make the pee pad into an art project.
Oh, I
where
like this.
Now
I
she's
like this a
painted
lot.
it. And
I
I'm
like
like,
this a lot.
this is going to be your airplane seat.
Yep.
And you sit on that, girl. And that's going to absorb all the pee-pee when
Yeah.
you go Benadryl
Yeah.
sleepy.
Yep.
That rhymed. That is a really good kid song. It'll
Yeah.
absorb all the pee-pee
You know what's
when
a
you
really
go
good kid
Benadryl
song?
sleepy.
You know, it's a really good kid song. Please stop.
I don't like that.
I'm feeling uncomfortable. I need some space. Not around me. Don't take it personally. We got a license for this song, Wendy.
Boundaries.
So we're going to use it. We're going to use it.
I think what we've concluded here is that people are a mess, and that includes toddlers.
Agreed.
But adults are also a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done so right by the world, right? The planet is dying. People's rights are being taken away every 30 seconds.
That's why we have the Rage Pod.
And here we are, and there's a million podcasts to talk about it. So clearly, the human race is killing it.
Yep. Doing all right. But please make us feel better by giving us 5 stars on Apple or Spotify. And also, if you can please leave a comment, like a review.
Yes.
That really does help us out. It makes us real sad when you don't. If you're listening, just like stop, pull over, like do it. And then also like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. And we have a website. Also, you can call us and leave us voice memos, 213-293-5995 if you want to do that.
I wonder if it's going to be right here, the graphic.
Love it. The old Chiron rage
She
at
had
the
a
Rage
lot.
Pod.
You had a lot
.com.
about that. You
I
had a
did.
lot of feelings about that. I didn't even know people were using that term.
I use it all the time.
You don't say lower thirds?
No, because I remember you said lower third to me one day, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Oh. I mean, Chiron is a very old school broadcasting term.
Well, maybe I'm an old school broadcasting
But there's
bitch.
nothing wrong. I mean, I'm kind of neutral about it, to be honest. I'm very neutral about it.
Yeah. I think I just like pick things and get mad about
Yeah.
them for a minute. And then I'm like, I don't really care.
But it's fun to get mad about
But
it.
it's
But you know
kind of fun to rage about it.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm currently raging about moon tourism. I'm so
What?
against it.
Oh my
Why?
God, can we talk about this for a second? I'm so
Wait,
curious
why? Yeah,
about
you have
this.
to tell us.
Because you know how you're saying we're ruining the planet, and then
Yeah.
we have these billionaire dickheads
Oh, that are going to ruin the moon.
that
Yeah.
they want to like build these rocket ships to go to the moon and build tourism on the moon. No, I am so against it. We're going to ruin the fucking moon.
Yeah.
Stay away. Stay
Yeah.
off of it. Leave it alone.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
moon looks gorgeous. Like, let's
Leave it
not
alone.
fucking soil it.
That goes for any planet. Just
Yeah.
fucking don't.
Well, and also like, oh, you guys did such a good job with this one.
no.
No, your track record sucks. You're like, oh, for everything.
I'm starting a movement. It's called Leave the Moon Alone.
Oh my God, that's a children's book. Write it.
I love it. I'm only there for it. Like if they want to go and explore and like if it's scientific, if it's with NASA and you're doing that, I am all for it, especially if they need to
Scientific.
live there, try to be like, can we build a world here?
No.
Whatever. Fine. But no. The tourism thing? No, you don't belong. We can't be doing this. That's like, that makes me mad if it's if they're doing it for research.
Right.
And for
right. No, I'm
NASA
with
purposes,
you.
I am down. Like, let's fucking explore.
They're not doing it for that. They're
But
doing
you
it.
know, all the aliens out there, like, fucking stay
Yeah.
away from us. Like,
I'm
we
with you.
don't
Do
want
with it.
you. We have
No.
been watching, and you guys are the worst.
I love it.
Anything that you're raging about, we want to hear about it. We'd love to talk about it.
Tell us.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.